You're listening to SM Media, the #1 place for exclusive content.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Be Strong, Be Positive podcast right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, delighted to be your host as always. Delighted to be joined in this week's episode by Jay Deakin from Talk Hub. Jay, it's a pleasure to welcome you onto the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for inviting me on, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you, mate.
How are you? How's things been?
Yeah, it's really good, lad. Just keeping busy, and obviously Talk Hub, keeps my mind occupied. Just keeps me going each day, to be fair, lad.
Talk about your background. Like, what kind of? We'll talk about Talk Hub later on, but what was your kind of early background? Like, what was your kind of early days like?
So when I was a kid, mate, my mum and dad split up when I was about 8 or 9,
Right.
and that for me is where the mental health kind of problems started. When I look back now, and it was quite a messy situation. My mum left, and I decided to stay with my dad.
Right.
I grew up in Runcorn, which is a neighbouring town to where I live now, Warrington. And yeah, I said, I'm staying with my dad, basically. I didn't want to leave because that was my home. So I didn't really see my mum for 2 years. Then she took my little brother. So
Right.
I think, that's where things started. And then, it's like when parents split up, there's a lot of animosity and stuff, and you get caught in the middle. And then, yeah, my dad started to go out with me, my teacher in primary school. So
Right.
it got a bit messy, like, and kind of, getting bullied and stuff by her. And, things were quite hard, mate, there. And yeah, I ended up leaving Runcorn and my dad not through my choice. And I ended up in Warrington against my will, basically. And I feel like that's where things for me started, with my OCD and stuff. And then I was in a situation where I was living with my mum that I didn't want to be there. I didn't feel like she wanted me there. Things were tough, and then both parents kind of slagging each other off, and my stepmom was not very nice with me, and that's where my anxiety started, and then all my obsession started, and my intrusive thoughts was about, I'd say, year 7, so 12.
See, like now, like, how do you look back in the kind of days? Like, is it just like painful to go back and reminisce and kind of what happened at that time?
It's not like I just obviously I'm doing what I'm doing now in life, and it feels like a lifetime ago that. But when I do think about it, I think, how the hell did I get through that? Because obviously I'm on about 17, 18 years ago here, where 2002. We haven't got mobile phones or internet. I don't even know what OCD is at this point. I've never heard of it. In school, you go on the computer maybe once, twice a week. So there's no access like there is now. So all these intrusive thoughts that I was having, and I kept doing loads of different rituals. And I had these thoughts all the time about like harm, OCD, and contamination, and all these different things. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here, and it's a confusing time as it is as a teenager. So, I was having to get out of bed and open my curtains so many times, because if I didn't, someone's going to come and kill my family, and it'd be my fault. Or, and I'd get back in my bunk bed. It was like a metal bunk bed, but underneath it was a sofa, and I'd get back in and I'd be like, right, I've done that now. I've done the ritual, compulsion. And then my brain would just go, you need to do it again or it's going to happen. And then I'd be like fighting with it, and I'd have to get out of bed again. And I'd be making a lot of noise, and then I've got my mum obviously going mad at me the next morning, like, what are you doing prattling around the house? Like, at that time, I couldn't help it though. I wasn't in control. And then I'd think, what if my stepdad tries to kill me in my sleep? Or what if he tries to kill my brother? And then, because I might have seen something on TV and it's triggered me, and then I'm like, I need to do this so many times now so it doesn't happen, or I need to stay awake in case he does do it, or I need to make sure my brother's still alive, so I'll check, just look in his room, make sure he's okay all the time. Like, basically, you're taking on a lot of responsibility at a young age, and that's what OCD is. Part of it is you take on a lot of responsibility for things that are never going to happen because of you, like magical thinking. Like, just because I move, say, this cup on my desk now 4 times, I'm going to stop a bad thing happening. There's no relation to that, but
do you get that feeling though? Do you get that kind of feeling though when you're doing that that's going to ease how you're feeling? And like how like, obviously OCD, it's kind of, it is obviously it's called obsessive, but it is, you're constantly thinking about it 24/7. Like, do you, when you were doing that, did you think that would be it, that would stopped once I did that? Like, did that kind of go through your head?
Yeah, like my brain's saying, Jay, do this 4 times and that won't happen, and I'll do it, walk away, and then it goes, Jay, you need to do it again. If you don't do it, that bad thing is going to happen. And I'll go, really, I need to let the thought go through my brain and carry on, because everyone gets intrusive thoughts, you get them, everyone gets them, but for me, I attach a meaning to it, and I grab it and I go, oh, why have I just thought that? And as a teenager with no knowledge of OCD, that's a very scary thing to go through. And it used to be like taps. I'd turn taps on and off, and I couldn't get the water out. Like, if I did that, I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't like it, so it was hard. Obviously, just touching things so many times. There's a lot of mental things as well that you do where people can't see, so it's quite exhausting. And that was a scary thing to go through. And in school, like year 9 and stuff, I was quite ill for a while, and with anxiety, and I couldn't go to a class, or I had to be in a separate room. And it really did affect me, like, growing up, to be fair. And by the time I got out of that kind of thing, like, I not spoke to mates for a while, and everyone's growing up, and I was quite small and stuff like that, so I was dealing with that as well, feeling like I'm a bit left out. And it was just a very, very, very tough time. And it wasn't until I was 16 where I found out kind of what OCD is. I just seen something on when I was doing my revision for GCSE sport. I seen someone put obsessions on bite-sized revision, and I thought, I seen something that relates to me, that, and I read up on it, and that's when I started to research it and think, I think this is what I've got. And ended up going to a doctor, and they diagnosed me with it. But it's very, very complex disorder. There's so many different aspects, but that's kind of the childhood period. And whilst going through that, I've obviously got, like, my stepmom and other things going on, my dad, and there's a lot of stuff going on, basically.
And is it like, do you feel as if, like, when all that's going on, obviously you said about your family and OCD and things like that, do you feel as if they're, like, in your mind they're all fighting, like, with each other to kind of dominate what's going on in your mind?
Yeah, the OCD is always the most, it's there, like, but there's that many different types of OCD I'm battling with at the time, it's very scary thinking, why am I thinking about, if I stab my brother, I'll kill him, or, because that's a harm OCD where you'll see a knife and you won't want to go near it because you're worried.
Right.
You're not going to, but so I've got, like, the harm one, the contamination one, kind of the suicidal OCD. I always felt dead depressed and stuff when I was a teenager, which is sad, to be fair. They weren't happy days for me. But yeah, there's many other things, lad, which obviously I can only speak about so many things. But as I got older, for me, it's better because I'm more in control of my life and I can understand things now. So I don't look back at childhood and think I want to go back to it. I'm glad I'm not there no more, basically.
Can I talk about your boxing as well? Obviously, like, how did that come about? Was that just did that start as kind of a way to get your kind of emotions out, and when did it turn out you were actually quite good at it?
I don't know if I'm any good at it, lad. Yeah, well, I was about 24, 25, and I split up with my ex-girlfriend. I've been with her for a while, and I bought my house and she lived with me, and yeah, it was a bad breakup, and I was living in my house on my own, and I just didn't feel like living no more, to be fair. I just gave up, lad. Like, yeah, obviously I go watch Everton home and away, mate. Like, that's Everton's my life, mate. Like, that saved me from 19 to now. Like, and even that, I didn't even want to go watch Everton. Right. That Christmas in 2014, I was just like, I had nothing left, mate. I was gone, and I started to self-harm and do stuff like that, and without going into too much detail. And yeah, I used to go to the gym and lift weights before that, but not really into competing or anything like that. And when I was at rock bottom, mate, and the lowest I'd ever been, and I lost a lot of weight, I couldn't go to work because self-harming and stuff, as I said. My mate just said, come train with me and we'll do a bit of boxing in this gym. There's no one in there. So I said, all right, lad. Started to box. Just, I'd done a little bit in the past when I was younger. So, I knew how to throw a punch, but obviously boxing's the next level, innit? And I just started to get into it then. And I felt like when I was in the gym boxing, I felt like I could get away from my brain for an hour or so.
Yeah.
And no matter what I felt about myself and how I felt about life, if I went boxing, I could just forget about all the stuff that's going on. Obviously, I'm very, with self-image, mate. I struggle with that a lot because I'm not like the biggest guy in the world. I only weigh about 10.5 stone. I'm not 6'2", you know what I mean? I'm only 5'9" or whatever, so I'm not a big guy, and I've always struggled with that. So when I was boxing, it made me did feel strong, and yeah, I ended up did a couple of months with my mate, and then he took me to the boxing gym around ours, amateur boxing gym, and started doing the fitness classes. And the coach was like, do you want to come sparring on Wednesday or whatever? You seem like you've got a bit about you. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. I'll just build my fitness up. And then I got in the ring and sparred this lad that I actually knew, and yeah, I don't know, I loved it. Got punched in the face, and I was like, yeah, I like this, because I don't know, maybe it's like a form of self-harm, maybe boxing. You're getting pain, but I could take the punches, so I got into it then, and I didn't know if I could ever fight, because obviously the OCD, high anxiety and doubting yourself, but I sort of put it in my brain that I want to fight. And after I kept training and stuff, and because I'm quite a dedicated and obviously obsess over things, so that was my new obsession, and I just felt good about myself, mate, when I was training. And there was days where I couldn't go because I was very down and depressed, but it gave me a thing to live for. And I started to change my diet in my life, and not that I was very unhealthy, but I stopped drinking, and just started to eat a bit better, and small little changes basically. And yeah, the more I started to spar and stuff, I just, my coach is like, Jay, you'll be ready soon, you for fight if you want to fight. And I got my first fight February 2016 on 3 weeks notice, and I'd actually just been told my job's been put on part-time, and there's a couple of things going on, and my head wasn't in a good place, to be fair, but I thought, nah, I'll go for it. And yeah, that was it. I'm fighting in Doncaster end of Feb, and did it, mate. And it was the scariest thing I ever did in my life, but it was the best thing I ever did as well.
And see, obviously,
yeah, go on, mate.
See, obviously, when you're in the ring as well, did you feel as if, I think it's probably the way to think about it is, do you feel as if a lot of kind of pain's leaving you when you're kind of throwing punches? Like, is it that kind of weird to say? Is that kind of weird?
Yeah, I was obviously I had aggression, you know what I mean?
Aye.
and I could let it out in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, when you're boxing, you don't want to be angry and stuff because you load your punches and you make mistakes. But it made me game, basically. Like, I'd get in the ring with people sparring, and some of the lads, usually lads I'd spar are bigger than me, but I didn't care because, you know, I had that game about me. Like, I'll go forward, I'll take the punches, and I'm quite fast, so, you know, I'll throw and I'll move off. And I didn't mind taking a punch, so that's, you know, I'm not the best boxer in the world, mate, but don't mind taking a punch. So it was like, I felt like, I felt took a bit of pain away from me and let me aggression out. I felt a bit more, you know, I don't know, after it I felt good and a bit relieved. And if I had a black eye and stuff, I'd like me having a black eye, a few war wounds and stuff. And like, after that first fight, mate, I lost on a split decision, to be fair, but I had 20 of my friends and family travelled 2.5 hours to come watch me, and I didn't care that I'd lost because I stepped into the ring with a debilitating mental health disorder. So for me, once I did that, I knew that whatever life throws at me, you know, I can overcome it. Like, I had a job interview a few days later. I wasn't even like bothered about it because I thought, is this the scariest Friday? No, so sound. And ever since then, it's always helped me to overcome things in life.
And what's obviously the plan with that? Like, would you go back? Have you kind of been planning to go back into it at some point?
No, I've retired now, lads, because I had a nose up last year, so I don't want my nose punching in again. But the second fight I had was like probably one of the worst and best moments of life. Is I started to feel really ill, like the week of the fight, like flu, kind of ill. Just that anxious and just felt so ill, mate. I just didn't want to fight. And on the Friday morning, I woke up, I had no sleep, and I just remember sat there eating my breakfast on the table, thinking, I can't do this tonight. I'm going to the gym and telling them that I'm fighting. So I ended up going to my gym and saying to the coach, listen, lad, I'm not fighting tonight. And he's like, why? I said, I'm just ill, mate. I don't feel like, I'm absolutely like full of a cold and flu or whatever it is. And he said, Jay, you're just anxious, lad. You need to just chill out, stay with me. And I said, nah, please ring the opponent and offer me apologies, kind of thing. I just can't do it. And I ended up staying with coach then, went for a brew, and one of my coaches was like a team GB coach for the women's. So she used to go to Sheffield, and she knew Auntie Joshua and all these GB, Auntie Fowler and all the GB Olympians. And she went, Jay, I'll show you this video now. I was going to show you all tonight, but this is a video of Auntie Joshua. And it just said to, like, good luck to all the hook and jab boxers tonight. Like, that's our gym. You know, wish you all the best. And when I seen that, like, it perked me up a bit. And then I ended up going to the venue and seeing the ring. And, like, once I got to the venue, like, they took me there watching it getting built. And I thought, this could be me tonight, this. And Tony Bellew's my kind of boxing hero for me, obviously the Everton connection. And I've been watching him in his title fight at Goodison. So I was thinking as cars walking out to that, and I was like, I could be doing this later, you know, this is my dream. And my coach went, Jay, you can have whatever song you want on. And I said, I had a big smile. And then my other coach, who's a City fan, he's like, you're not having that on, Jay, you're not having that on. And she said, listen, if Jay wants Everton on, he's having Everton. So that was decided. And I thought, right, I'm going home, I'm going to get something to eat. I think I went for my haircut just to take my mind off it. I couldn't really sleep, and then I packed all my stuff, and I still felt ill, mate, honest. I felt horrible. And I went to the venue and got weighed in and stuff. And I said, I can't stay in this room with me because the room was mixed with the opponents. I said, I need somewhere to go on my own. So they got another room in the social club for, like, on my own for me. And I just started watching the YouTube videos of Tony Bellew and like the videos that I took on my phone from his fight, and I was just walking around thinking, Jay, this could be me with Zed cars. And basically everyone was there and the room was full, and I could hear the thuds and stuff upstairs, like the crowd cheering. And my coach come down and said, Jay, it's your turn now. And you had to walk up these stairs. And it felt like I was going jail. Like, it was, do you know what I mean? It was just taking me up, leading me off somewhere. And I was like, oh my God. And I was stood in this corridor behind the stage, and I could hear like one of the lads who's like, sort of like Irish lad, like heavyweight. So I could hear like big thuds. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God. And I just said to my coach, I only have to see you twice, don't I, in the ring, and then the fight's over. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I see you twice in between the rounds, and then the third time I see you, it's over, innit? And she was like, yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, Jay. And she went, you're going to win this, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And I said, I don't want to throw too much warm-up pads. Like, I just want to conserve my energy. I went, if I just do one round, though, I think I'll be happy. We just do one round. And she was like, okay, Jay. And we stood there then, and I was looking out the door, and then Zed cars come on, and then she looked at me, and the exact bit I was like, it's time to go. And I come out, looked at my opponent, and I was like, oh my God, he looks quite hard, him. And got in the ring. I was wearing red as well, which I was not happy about. I've never worn it in my life, and I got in there, mate. I don't know, I never felt as calm as I just felt so calm because I didn't use my energy. I just took my time. First round, got back. I have to see you one more time, don't I? And she's like, Jay, shut up. You need to listen to me. And the second time, I was like, next time I see you, it's over. And then fight finished, and I was so made up, lad. And then the ref gave the decision, and it red corner, Jay Deakin, and I was like, yes, like, I started crying, lad, like, honestly, coming out of the ring, like, no one knows what I went through that day. 12 hours early, like, the emotions, like, the battle against myself, and I say that's one of the proudest moments of life, but again, that showed again, like, how strong I am and how much I can get through. And it was a lesson. So every boxing fight I've had, we had 6. It's always a lesson. There's always something going on like that where I'm ill or something's happening, but I always do it. So for me, boxing is very, very, it's been a massive thing in my life.
Brilliant. We'll touch on Everton, obviously. We're both big football fans, and I think I can probably speak for you as well. I think a large proportion of how you feel depends on how your team does at the weekend. And do you get that feeling? Are you like me, where if your team don't do well, you're constantly thinking about it? It quite brings you down.
Yeah, with Everton, lad, I've since 2009, 2010, it's been everywhere with him every week, home and away. Missed 9 games in 10 years. In 2010 to 2020, I only missed 9 games, and that was including Europe. So for me, lad, Everton was like, that just saved me, honest to God. Like, when I go to the game, even though I'm doing my obsessions and things in my head, I just feel like if there's other stuff going on, when you're in that stadium, it's like, doesn't matter what's happening in life, this is what's most important, as you probably know. And it's not just the 90 minutes, it's the build-up, it's the leaving your house, it's driving to London, parking up, seeing your mate. So, yeah, it does affect me, mate, when I'm driving back from Brighton and we've just been done by VAR, we lose 3-2 after being 2-1 up. Like, that could put me in a bit of a bad mood.
Who's some of your kind of favourite players you kind of the pleasure of seeing while you've been an Everton fan?
When I was growing up, lad, Duncan Ferguson's obviously. We didn't have many heroes in the 90s, like when I was growing up. So Big Dunk's obviously the hardest and the best for me. Gary Speed, Kevin Campbell in my early years, and then as I was growing, teenager, probably Tim Cahill, Mikel Arteta, Leighton Baines, Seamus Coleman, and then recent players. Lukaku is one of my favourites, and now I'd say probably Richarlison and like James Rodriguez. I feel blessed to be able to watch them wearing Everton shirt.
Had you ever heard the Duncan Ferguson story about the night after the 95 Cup final?
Nah, I'm not sure about that. What?
It's the best story ever. Obviously, the 1-1 now. And
Duncan Ferguson,
Duncan Ferguson was obviously got a full bottle of a full case of champagne and filled his bath. And had a bath full of champagne. And for some reason, he was called down to the hotel reception, and the cleaner went into his hotel and let the bath out, and all the champagne went down the sink. It's the best story ever. It's Duncan Ferguson as well. It's just a belter. It's a belter.
You just it doesn't surprise you, a big dunk, mate. Nah. You know,
some player though as well. Like, see the one thing with Duncan Ferguson is he doesn't get enough credit for how good he was with the ball at his feet.
It's because he was injured or suspended a lot, but with his feet, he was lethal. Like, obviously he's known for his heading, but he was really good on his feet. And I've seen him score loads of times for Everton, and I've got a framed photo of him in my front room here of him scoring a header at Sheff when Sheff led away in '97. We lost the game 2-1, but I've just got that photo because I was there, and he's my favourite player at the time. So
brilliant.
They're my heroes, mate. Like, they're my favourite players, yeah.
Brilliant. Obviously, like, top club as well. Like, talk us through how you set that up and what it kind of represents to you.
So our club, like, it set it up last February, but when I think about it, things have happened years before to kind of set that up, where I was going to an OCD support group in Liverpool once a month and getting some like experience being in a room environment, talking to other people who have the same thing as me. And I did a YouTube video, like a film with one of my mates a few years ago, and spoke about OCD for the first time, like, and I was so scared to do it, mate, honest to God. But once I did it, and the response I had was like amazing. Like, I had people coming up to me at the Everton game and like messaging me and stuff, and I just couldn't believe it. And I thought people was going to be horrible to me and stuff like that, and think I'm strange and weird, but they didn't. And that gave me a bit of confidence to set a podcast up like yourself, mate. End of 2019, and then when I was recovering from my nose up last Feb, I was just out walking, and I'd wanted to do something for a while with guys, like maybe a little meeting or something in a room. But I was out on this walk and I was listening to an audio book, and I just thought, there's something I can do here. I can just go for a walk with guys because it's free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's more relaxed. Lads, can have a chat, and we don't have to talk about mental health. We can talk about footy or boxing or, like just me and you now. And I set that up round ours, and a few weeks later then, and 6 lads turned up, and I did another one. 7 lads turned up, and obviously COVID hit, so it was kind of like, what to do now. And then I come up with the idea again, walking, that I'll do a virtual men's walk where we meet up on Zoom at 11 o'clock on a Saturday, but at 10 o'clock, go for a little half an hour walk, get a little photo of where you've been to, wherever you live, even England, Scotland, Wales, wherever, it doesn't matter, and we'll come on Zoom and have a chat and get a little photo collage, and I'll throw it on social media. And we was getting guys from all over, mate. Like, I know a few lads from Scotland, like the Kick Mental Health guys, Ali Bingham, like he was joining in a lot, and there's a couple of other lads, and even lads from America and stuff were sending photos in. So sort of went with that last summer, and it was just amazing, mate. We had Chris Kirkland come on and talking to the guys, and then we got back on the socially distanced walks then. around Liverpool, Warrington, where I live, you know, just different areas really, camping, and we got to keep adjusting all the time because of these lockdowns. So now we're back out walking, but you know, and we do footy on a Friday night with another group. But for me, mate, soccer was like, you know, very special for me. Like, I'm very passionate about it, and everything I've done is obviously off my own back, and I do it because I don't want other guys to go through what I've been through when I was younger, or you know, on my own, and sort of try to reach the guys that maybe not like me, who have got a mental illness in it. You know, I do need professional help, but maybe guys who are at the top of the hill and they have a bad few weeks, they've split up the girlfriend or the job, or you know, they're just feeling down.
Yeah.
If they can come on these walks and be involved in our little community, in a few weeks' time, they might just feel like, oh, yeah, I feel all right now. Because a lot of the time, like, people do just, things only last temporary, where, you know, they split up with a girl, whatever, and a few 4 weeks later, you know, they feel better now because, you know, it's a temporary feeling, and they've not actually got a disorder, say, like myself. But if you leave that to not, like, if you leave that with no help kind of thing, that could lead into a serious, you know, they could spiral down and then, you know, get really unwell. So it's kind of like trying to catch them guys who are, you know, just feeling a little bit not good, and just getting them out talking and knowing that they've got somewhere to go. Like, I haven't got all the answers, you know, I just facilitate. I'm not professional. I know my role is just, I organise things, try to be, you know, a role model and stuff, and if guys can come on the walks and play footy, and that stops them from getting down, then that, you know, I'm happy. That's great, and you know, obviously I just want to help as many guys as possible, but yeah, I just want to keep on growing really, mate, and reaching as many guys as I can.
No, definitely, mate. You're doing a brilliant job. See, just before we move on to the kind of final kind of quick fire questions, like, do you still kind of feel there is kind of stigma with the likes of OCD? Do you feel like,
yeah,
do you like, what do you think can be kind of done with that? Like, what do you think that could represent going forward? Like, how to change that?
It's very tough, mate. As you probably know, like, OCD is always a throwaway comment, like, I'm so OCD, where, you know, OCD is not an adjective, you know. You can't say I'm so obsessive compulsive disorder, because it doesn't make sense. You don't say I'm so depression or I'm so anxiety. You know, it's a disorder. So just people just think it's neat and tidy, or, you know, stuff like, oh, I need to wash my hands, so I'm so OCD. But it's not. Like the things I've touched on earlier, they're the kind of things, you know. And I seen a video on YouTube where a guy gets someone, he'll ask you to, like, write down on a piece of paper, like, I want my, like, family member to die, and he wants you to take that piece of paper and put it in your pocket and keep it for a week. Like, and he says, how would you feel about doing that? Could you do it? And, you know, most people say no, because they think, because they've wrote that down, it's going to happen.
Right.
Now, that is what an OCD brain is like all the time. That's what we always think. So you writing that down on a piece of paper is like, oh no, I can't write that down because I don't want to say that about my family member dying or whatever, you know, something that means a lot to you. And if you keep it on you, that you'll feel like, oh, that's going to happen. But that's what an OCD brain's like all the time. So I mean, just people talking about it, mate, and like what you're doing, you know, letting me speak, and, you know, other people with OCD sharing their experience, like, hopefully will help, you know, change the stigma. But a lot of the time you're in a bit of an echo chamber with OCD, because the people who listen about OCD are the people who already got OCD. It's the people who don't have it who we need to kind of to reach. So hopefully maybe one person listens to your podcast now, they'll go, well, is that what OCD is? And maybe they'll have a little research into it. So yeah, the more we speak about it, it's the better for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, mate. It's been It's been really fascinating to hear your story and things like that. Are you all right with some quick fire questions as we kind of close up the show?
Yeah.
Right. First one, would you rather Everton won the league or the Champions League?
The league.
Right, okay. Is that because Liverpool won last season?
Yeah. Is it? And I can hand it over.
Brilliant. What's an interesting fact about yourself that the viewers will not know?
Yeah, that put me on the spot like me. I'm trying to learn Spanish.
Right, very good. That's how's that come about? Is that just an interest to learn another language?
Yeah, just a friend at work, and I like to try and learn new things. So,
brilliant.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time to any point, where would you go? I have a feeling this is going to be Everton related.
Yeah, I'll probably go back to United away when we beat them 1-0 Oviedo, because I'd never seen us beat United at Old Trafford, so that was a nice one. I've not got that many good memories watching Everton. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Favourite film and TV show?
Film? I'd say Away Days.
Okay.
It's a football hooligan one. And TV show, I've got a lot, mate, to be fair, but I'd say Peaky Blinders.
Good choice. Favourite artist?
Musician?
Yeah.
I like so many, mate. I'm into house music, to be fair, so I'll probably say Camel Fat, if you know what they are.
Yeah, very good. Favourite thing to do in your spare time?
But apart from watching Everton, just training, mate. Just going to the gym and running.
Brilliant. Final one thing you would tell yourself 10 years ago?
That life gets better, and you can do anything when you put your mind to it.
Brilliant. Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the show, mate. I've really enjoyed having you on. It's been really fascinating to hear your story, and thanks very much for doing that. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me on, mate, and good luck with the podcast going forward.
Brilliant, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you.